Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about have a game plan for when things get difficult. All right. So, group coaching day today, 2 calls. First one was good. Another one in about 20 minutes. Hope everybody's well. Just relax your body. All right. So have a game plan. So here's the issue. Oftentimes, people will experience a colorful or sensational day as far as symptoms go. And when that is happening, unfortunately, rational thought is kind of out the window. Right? It's really, really difficult to think rationally when the symptoms spike. And it's very, very easy for the default or the habitual response to be, oh no, panic, fear, freak out, all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to think your way out of that, right? But if you have a game plan that you can kind of formulate before you have a flare-up, you have it written down, that's your go-to. So if you do find yourself having a really colorful day, that's your default now. You're going to pull out your little index card or piece of paper or whatever you got it written down on. Say, okay, this really sucks, but here's what I'm going to do. And some suggestions. Remind ourselves that we know it's TMS, perceived danger pain, and that's all that's going on. Remind yourself that we don't have to figure out what's going on. We already know what's going on. The brain perceived some danger, whether it be consciously or, most importantly, subconsciously. Because a lot of people say, I'm not having any thoughts that brought this on, so I don't understand it. You don't have to have conscious thoughts to bring on a flare-up. If your brain is perceiving something to be dangerous, the symptoms can jump. Could be expectations of symptoms, could be worry that things may get bad, could be movement, body positions, sitting too long, standing too long, could be stress of any different levels, emotional stress, mental stress, internal dialogue stress, could be any number of things. But the key is, if you find yourself in a bit of a crisis with this flare-up that's got really, got your attention, this game plan will help. So remind yourself that perceived danger pain is it. If the fear or the perceived danger is obvious, great. Point it out, call it out. But even if it's not, just recognize, I don't have to figure out what it was. Just know the brain perceived danger, probably at a subconscious level. And the next job is to decide, all right, well, I have 2 choices. I can either allow the symptoms to drag me into fear, or I can kind of take a leadership role and say, all right, symptoms are kicking right now, but I'm going to pull the symptoms out of fear. I'm going to pull myself out of fear. And sometimes, often, the symptoms will settle down reasonably quickly. Not immediately, but reasonably quickly. And I had an example of that in the group call where within hours of somebody taking a different approach, things kind of settled down. So, remind yourself, it's definitely TMS, perceived danger pain. Brain perceives something dangerous, don't have to figure out what. Then jump into calmly reassuring yourself that I'm going to be okay. I don't need to buy into this with a whole bunch of fear and freak out, catastrophic thinking, assuming the worst for the rest of my life, and that I'm going to be in pain forever. All that stuff that is so easy to fall into when we have a bad day. Remind yourself that that's not going to happen, that I'm good. I'm on the right path. This stuff works, folks. Tell yourself that. This stuff works. And if I do the work, it's going to work for me too. Why? Because I'm a human being just like everybody else who's getting better. This is how the human system functions. So, You may want to check in on what's going on emotionally. Just allow yourself to feel whatever emotions are there, but with extreme clarity that emotions are safe. Hey, I'm really upset about X, Y, and Z. Sad, mad, glad, angry, pissed off, whatever it may be. Grief-stricken, feeling guilty, shameful. And just know, be very clear with yourself. These emotions are safe. I can handle them. So there's no need to run away from or have the symptoms try to protect me from the emotions. Know that physically, you can also, your go-to, your action plan is relax your body so that you can breathe comfortably, right? Very, very good message of safety to the brain, because if you're like this, bound up and tight, the brain has no choice but to perceive danger. And then as your thinking starts to spin, as the default may be, make a conscious, very explicit decision to say, hey, brain, we're not going to buy into this. We're not going to ruminate on all the possible bad things that could happen forever. We know we're okay, right? That's more calm reassurance. But as it regards the mental state, we don't have to believe those mental, negative thoughts. We can literally let them go by. And when you do that, that allows for more room for the calm reassurance. So I talk a lot about mindset. Mindset is all this stuff, but in my opinion, mindset is a lot of how do we respond to symptoms. Well, you see, I'm mapping out this plan. Have a game plan. It's really important to know that part of that game plan is choosing your response to the sensations. You can freak out. You can be completely indifferent and go, don't really care. Challenging to do. So if you can't do that, and that's not available to you, don't worry about it. Calmly reassure yourself. Many of the things I just walked you through. And then as soon as possible, shift your attention away from the symptoms, away from this supposed crisis. That doesn't mean you're ignoring it. You're choosing to say, I recognize this is what's going on, but I'm not concerned. And if you can remain calm despite what the symptoms are doing, it's not just that you're saying these things in this game plan. You're actually showing the brain that you mean it. It's authentic, because once you get through that calm reassurance and reminding yourself of the facts and that you're really not in trouble, by shifting your attention to something else and engaging your brain in something else, you know what happens? The brain says, holy cow, they're not freaking out. They've stated some facts that we know to be true. Their body's relaxed. They're breathing comfortably. They're checking down on emotions and knowing that they're safe. So whatever's going on there, we're good. They're not taking their scary, dark, catastrophic thinking thoughts seriously. And they're kind of redirecting their attention to engaging in something else other than the symptoms. And they're remaining calm. So, that's essentially the entire recommendation for how to get better from TMS and perceived danger pain. But it's particularly useful, really useful. See, I'm not even going to try to say that word again. It's really useful to have that game plan written out somewhere. Put it in your words, but you get the point. And have that available with you at all times. An index card in your pocket, piece of paper somewhere nearby. And if you're in a flare-up, don't spend hours or days or weeks freaking out. And oh, by the way, if some of these negative thoughts is, it must not be TMS. There's no way TMS could hurt this bad. Remind yourself that it can, because, unless you just fell down and broke your arm, it's very unlikely that, something bad happened that would hurt as bad as some of this stuff does. So have a game plan for when you are in a bit of a crisis. And that's kind of the walkthrough. So I hope this makes sense to you. Take some time when you're in a calm state, when you're feeling reasonably good. Don't say, I'll get to that the next time I have a flare-up. No, it's too late then. Because at that point, Your rational, logical thinking is offline. Because when you get a big flare-up, it's very easy to fall into the panic again. So when you're having a reasonably good day and you know these facts, write something out. And if you need to, replay this video with a pen and paper in hand and come up with your own checklist of things to do, and create this game plan so that if things go south, you know what you're going to do, and you know it's going to help you. So I hope that makes sense. Create this game plan. Really, really important. I spoke about it in today's group coaching call, and I was really compelled to do a video on it because it's really going to help you. So do it. Do the work. Put it in place and use it if you should ever have an increase in symptoms. So love you guys and gals. I will talk to you soon. Take care.